Hey, I'm Jenny,
And I'm Hillary, and you can call us,
the Garden Tarts.
kissing lips and breaking hearts.
We have been bestest friends for over 25 years, and we love to talk you too.
We've had some super ridiculous adventures, and now this podcast, which is pretty much all opinion with a handful of facts thrown in.
Why a U2 podcast? Because as much as we love talking U2, we know you do too.
So sit down, grab a drink, and find us on Instagram and Twitter so we can chat.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
We've had an exciting week, haven't we?
Oh my gosh, so exciting. We're like following the band on tour on the other side of the world. They're currently in Australia for the Joshua Tree 2019 tour. And all of a sudden this like graphic shows up on Instagram. And we're all like, what? It's a drawing in Bono's handwriting. Hey, when did Bono's handwriting become their official font?
I don't know. I think it actually was
a few years ago.
It was invisible, wasn't it?
Ordinary Love. It was
Ordinary Love.
And now everything is in his handwriting.
Yeah. Which is cool.
It's
very, identifiable.
But who decided that was a good idea? Because who can read it?
Nobody can read it, but because all the letters look like there's some sort of backward F.
So I have this thing written from him, and his F is crossed and his T is not. So it looks like an L and a T with a big bottom.
It's weird.
Oh my gosh. Cross your T's, dude. Does he dot his I's? No.
He doesn't dot his I's. I don't dot my I's a lot of the time.
Yeah. Cross your T's and dot your I's, dude.
Yeah.
We have a new song.
We do.
And everyone was so surprised. And then I went, oh, yeah. We kind of knew this was coming. I don't know about you, but I knew. Because when they announced this tour and they announced that they were going to India for the first time, all of a sudden the press exploded.
Yes.
There was that interview in the Indian version of Rolling Stone magazine, and there was video of interviews. They were, especially Bono and Edge were doing interviews about this. And people were like, oh, were you going to work with this artist? Maybe do this. And they're like, oh, if they'll have me.
Right.
It's like, okay, way to cover that up, dudes, because you were already talking.
Yeah. We knew there was something pending.
But I didn't know now. I thought it might come out after the tour was over or on the new album. But this is exciting.
Very exciting. The even more exciting, the night before, they had a U2 conference in Australia, and Dallas Shue, Edge's guitar tech, had what we thought then was big breaking news, that he confirmed that U2 were working on a new album. And we're like, that's the biggest breaking news that could ever happen. And then the next morning,
here's a song.
Like, here's a new song. We had a really long time to wait for that.
I know, right? So the song is called Ahimsa, which is a term that Bono has been talking about. He talked about it in all that Indian press. And so, of course, and it is with the Indian artist A.R. Rahman.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it? It's R-A-H-M-A-N. I'm not going to pretend.
I'm pronouncing it.
Yeah. So I apologize if that's wrong.
So Ahimsa is Sanskrit for not to injure or compassion. And it was the principle of it was kind of made famous by Mahatma Gandhi, who strongly believed in nonviolence and ahimsa. So it's weird. A friend of mine, Tony, her Instagram handle is Ahimsa and then her birthday.
Oh, really?
It's been like that since the beginning of Instagram. And so I had to I sent her a text immediately, like, oh my God, she said that it made her cry. The song made her cry. It was so beautiful, and she was so thankful. She's a yoga instructor, so she's very much
So the The cliff notes of how this gets to you too is that Ahimsa is to Gandhi, is to Martin Luther King, is to you two. It is
Yes.
that basically nonviolence is the strongest weapon you can ever have.
Hmm. And it
And
makes you strong. People, I think, take it as being, weak, but it's not. It's stronger. You have to have more strength not to be violent than you need to be violent.
right, because the hold back urges is and violence is can be very difficult,
Right.
but over time you can get there. There I love the song. It's not every time I hear a new song, especially ones that are out of an album context. Sometimes I hear them and I'm delightful to hear them, and then I'm like, wait, do I really like it?
Or I'm just
And I,
excited that it's something new.
right. Or this one definitely I'm listening and I'm like, okay, this is pretty, this is pretty. And then Bono started singing and I'm like, my spirit soar. And I've listened to it 269,000 times. And every time I love it more and more. But there's been a lot of mixed feelings about this song in the U2 family online universe. I've read people saying that, oh, this is just, it's marketing to sell more tickets in India, and it's just a throwaway song by U2, and blah, 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 blah. But they are working with an artist from a completely different genre
Right.
to create something that is different than they've done before. While at the same time, those verses are as U2 as any song. Bono said this regarding this song. He said, the fight against injustice has always been so important to us. Martin Luther King said, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. I don't believe that anymore. It doesn't bend towards justice. It has to be bent towards justice. We have to be actively involved in our democracy to preserve it and show people how we feel and what we care about. We come as students to the source of inspiration. That is Ahimsa, nonviolence. India gave this to us, the greatest gift of the world. It is more powerful than nuclear energy, the armies, the navies, the British Empire. It is power itself, and it's never been more important. U2 catalog of songs is so big. There's going to be songs people like and people don't like.
Right. There are
But
plenty. I mean,
there are
there are
plenty of
plenty of
songs that
his.
I don't
Yeah.
like or don't move me. But I hope people who don't like this song can understand. Like maybe the music doesn't move them. I hope that it hurts me that people see this as a marketing ploy.
I don't see that at all. Plus, isn't that show
I mean,
so
yeah, it's
long?
brilliant to release a single
Right.
with an Indian artist right before you play India. Why do you think you're releasing Joshua Tree podcast while they're on a Joshua Tree tour?
Exactly, right? I mean, we could have done this whole thing, next year, but
but I feel like it's excitement and build up.
yeah. But also, I mean, they clearly are that excited about playing in India. They've never
Yeah.
played it. I think Ed said it's always been on their bucket list. And
Hmm.
when you're that excited and your whole job is to write songs anyway, wouldn't that move you
Right.
to write a song?
I love it. I love the song so much. And the beginning and the end of the song are actually Raman's daughters that
Yes.
sing it, and they sing it in Tamil. Did we decide? We don't know how to pronounce that either. Tamil, the
That's
language, and they are
how I
sacred.
pronounce it.
They're from the sacred books. I have a translation. Some people have done some amazing work. The at U2 website and U2 songs both have a lot of information
Yeah.
on these. And we could read those to you and pretend that we are experts, but we're not. So we can
Mm-mm.
send it to you. But they do have this English translation. I'm assuming it's rough because of how the languages work. But through unprovoked thy soul, malicious foes should sting, retaliation wrought, inevitable woes will bring. If you harm others in the forenoon, harm will visit you by itself in the afternoon.
Wow.
And those are not written lyrics, those are straight
Right.
from the sacred verses. And this was the ancient book that Gandhi relied on. So again, that book has a name that translates to sacred verses, and I am not even going to pretend to try and pronounce it because I feel like that would be awesome. It's a specific chapter.
I think it's a beautiful song. I
I
love
think
it.
it's beautiful.
I have no complaint
I have a
at all.
small complaint is too large of a word. But the build up, and this is such a typical YouTube build up, this is an invitation to a higher location, and then it's supposed to be this huge moment.
Right.
And
It's
to me, getting into the Ahimsas is, I feel a little bit of a letdown. But
right.
maybe that's also it's supposed to calm. I don't know
Well,
why they did that.
that little part kind of I have a problem where every song I hear, I try to compare it to another song.
Mm,
I'm constantly doing this and it screws
you
with my
can't do that.
head.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just its own song, but the beginning of the song, I started like hearing something else in my head and I could not figure out for the life of me what it was. Like what else am I hearing every
Yeah.
time I hear this? And later in the day in my head, I could not get My Back Pages by Bob Dylan, or the version I hear is The Birds, but
Yeah.
I couldn't get My Back Pages out of my head. And I'm like, oh my God, that is really similar. If you listen to the Birds version, there's just, and I don't know the technical terms and what I'm hearing that makes me think it's like My Back Pages, but I hear it so distinctly. And then before the chorus where he says, if you like it, you can sing along. To me, that's very Sergeant Pepper.
Yes.
And so I actually have that written down in my notes, My Back Pages
That is a good call. That's a
and
good
Sergeant
call.
Pepper. So I always do it. I always try to come up with this song reminds me of, and I said it to a friend of mine once, and he said that I'm like, oh, is that the one that sounds like the Beatles? It was like a day. It was the day that I think it was All That You Can't Leave Behind
Yeah.
came out, and I didn't even remember what song I was talking about. And I'm like, is that the song that sounds like the Beatles? And he's like, no, it sounds like you too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
fine.
Chris does
I
that.
don't
My
know
husband
what
does
makes
that.
this.
He'll hear a song and he starts singing another song. You
Yeah,
and him could have a field day with that.
that would be a lot of
It
fun. Because
drives me crazy because he is always right.
let me tell you though, it drives me crazy. I don't want that
You
in
don't
my
want to hear
head.
other songs.
No, I want to hear what the actual song. But
Yeah.
it was really weird. Like with Sergeant Pepper, I knew that right away. But with My Back Pages, it was like half a day where I'm just like,
Why am I
why am
singing
I
this song?
why am I singing My Back Page? And I'm like, oh, that's what it is. That also, I would just like to say, is a really phenomenal song. If you haven't listened to it in a while, you
I
should
haven't.
listen to it.
I'll listen to it. So,
Listen to Bird's version, not Bob Dylan, just
okay.
because.
So, Hillary, do you have a question for Bono over whiskey and cake?
I do actually. Um, so obviously, Ahimsa was written with their show in India in mind, in Mumbai. So my question is, how do you think Singapore and South Korea and the Philippines feel about India getting their own song and them not getting their own song, and you've never played there before either? So is that really fair? Shouldn't you really get on it really quickly and write a song for South Korea, Singapore, and the Philippines? Shouldn't you do that?
You know, that's actually a really interesting question because they did a lot of press around that
Right.
Mumbai announcement and not the other first time shows.
Right.
I mean, now it makes sense because they have
Right,
something to.
but shouldn't they in the next like day or so write new songs for Singapore and South Korea and the Philippines just to be fair? Come on.
I
You
know,
can do
right?
it.
Just whip one out.
Just come on.
Yeah, just
I mean,
change the
Bono
just
talks
change the
about
name.
how people make it much harder, the edge makes it harder to write songs than necessary. And so prove him wrong again.
Yeah, do it.
Quick, come on, tonight.
Need a few more. See you tomorrow
Yeah.
with those new songs.
And that's all. Also, my question would be, which I may be asked again, but what kind of cake do you want with your whiskey?
What kind of cake do I want? Or are you asking Bono that?
Bono. I know what cake you want.
Yeah.
You want that Goo Cluster cake.
Goo Cluster cake from Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
That's where it all started.
It is where it all started. But what do you think? What kind of cake do you think Bono wants?
I really don't know what his sweet taste is, but if he's going to bring the whiskey,
We should bring
then
cake.
we can bring the cake and he can make a request.
Sure, he can.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're listed in Bono, just drop us a note and let us know in advance what kind of cake you want.
Yeah. It's at the underscore gardentarts.com. You can have Edge put it in Twitter for you.
Yeah, that totally. And if you are listening, also, we're really sorry sometimes.
We are so sorry.
You know, it's all in a good spirit. Things should be funny sometimes.
Well, maybe he could say he's sorry to us sometimes too.
Let's just not go there because we really do want him to,
Okay.
to send us an email or get
Never
on
mind.
Twitter.
I'm sorry about that too.
We love you, buddy.
I love you so much.
So much.
Okay, so my question for Bon over Whiskey and Cake about this is a little bit serious or technical, and that is obviously this theory of Ahimsa is not new to them because you can go from Martin Luther King to Gandhi to, nonviolence, all this and that. And is this something that they would have done eventually without the Mumbai show? Like, why did it take touring in India to go to this place with a song?
I agree.
The topic is a natural progression for them. It fits right with them.
Right. Absolutely.
Maybe it was. Maybe maybe the India thing happened after the song.
Maybe they wrote the song and that's why they had to play India. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
We'll never know.
Well, we will know because we can sit down and discuss it over cake and whiskey. Yeah. We're gonna tell him he needs to bring that coffee Jameson, right? That cold brew Jameson.
Oh, the cold brew Jameson that you can only get in Dublin.
Yeah, he's got to bring that to the table.
Yeah. And if he wouldn't mind some extra bottles that we can bring home.
Yeah, that would be great. So we should probably have I feel like instead of having a cake that's more rich, we should have maybe something fruity, like strawberry shortcake or something like that.
Oh, that could be nice.
Yeah, or like a lemon blueberry thing. I don't know.
Okay.
Because I feel like that would go better with
the coffee taste,
the heavy coffee taste.
Yeah.
Where chocolate would probably go with it, but I feel like that would be really rich.
Yeah. Or even just like a white or yellow cake might be nice.
Yeah, something like that. Just
we'll
minimal.
Figure it out.
If we go with that whiskey, then we should have a minimal cake.
Yeah. We could have a small buffet. What if we brought cupcakes and they were each a little different?
But then, what if Bono picked the ones that we wanted to eat?
Well, we cut them into 3s.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
So we each get a third of each flavor.
That's what they think that they do that's what they think they're going to do at my office when I get cupcakes. There are 3 people in the Hampton office and I get 3 cupcakes and they're like, well, we're going to cut them in thirds. And I'm like, no, we're not. I picked up my cupcake because it's my cupcake.
I want the one I want.
For Bono, I could see cutting it in thirds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good at sharing.
That's smart right there. Or should we have pie? Punch and pie? No.
Punch and pie. No.
Whiskey and cake.
That's when we get together with Kenny Chesney.
I don't want to do that.
I don't either.
He's really not my jam.
No.
God bless him, I guess, but he's just not my jam.
Yeah.
But, if Kenny Chesney wanted to have punch and pie with us, let's just take one for the team.
Yeah, I'd oblige. I'm sure he's a delightful gentleman.
Like, sit down and, what question I'd ask him right away? The first
Do you know
question.
Bono?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly.
Do you know Mr. Kebab?
Yeah, because he might know Bono. I just forgot to ask.
Yeah.
But Kenny Chesney, it's 3 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Kenny Chesney, Mr. Kebab, Bono.
It works.
So that would be my question to Kenny Chesney for sure.
Hey there, friends. Jenny here from the Garden Tarts, and I want to tell you about Anchor, which is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it is 100% free. And there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard across multiple platforms, including Spotify and Apple. You can make money with your podcast, and it's everything you need to create a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
So Ahimsa was recorded in Electric Lady Studios in New York City.
In September this past year. Did we have a Where in the World is Bono in New York in September? We might need to catalog that stuff a little more.
I actually think at some point we knew he was in there. He was in LA for something, and then he went to New York before heading home.
Oh yeah, I think I predicted that too.
Yeah.
I think I said before he goes home he'll go to New York or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you say that yeah.
And by the way, we don't have like the inside track on that. That's just Instagram.
Yeah. I don't know anything.
We don't know anything.
No. An interesting thing though is apparently back in 2010, Julian Lennon was in the studio with them and he took a picture, and written on a whiteboard is the lyric, "I'll meet you where there is no sleeping, but we wake up to a dream." So that lyric has origins all the way back to 2010.
And he's been quoting a version of that on this tour, the Joshua Tree 19 tour, as Pride segues into Streets. Mm-hmm. He's been going on about this kind of poetic thing about Martin Luther King. And he says something like, maybe one day we'll wake up in the world he dreamt, like he was dreaming of.
Right.
Like we're not where he wanted us to be, but maybe one day we'll wake up there.
Right.
We'll wake up in the dream or whatever. So this, yeah, he's been like, he's always hinting.
Yeah.
It's always there.
So it was produced by one of Edge's guitar techs, Duncan Stewart. Oh, Duncan. And mixed by Steve Lillywhite, who they just keep digging him out all the time. I didn't realize how involved he is in everything.
Well, he only does 2 albums.
Only 2 albums with a band. Yeah. How's that working out for you?
Yeah, right. Spoiler alert. For everything.
Yeah.
Oh, it should be noted that A.R. Rahman is he a Grammy winner? He was on the Slumdog Millionaire soundtrack.
Yeah.
And, I mean, many other things in his own right.
Which is an amazing soundtrack. I like that soundtrack. I haven't heard it in ages, but I liked it. Another thing is that apparently, I'm not sure this is all on the up and up, but apparently you two are planning an EP where other Indian artists work with some of their back catalog.
Yes, they're not new songs, but they might be like DJ remixes. I don't know. That sounds like an official thing.
Yeah.
That EP sounds official. But apparently those songs have not been chosen yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're still working on that. But I bet you we get that before the holidays.
Right.
Bet you that comes fast.
I bet.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we got a new song in the middle of a tour.
Right. And so, like, we've been talking all week, like, what the hell are we going to talk about? We just have, like, 3 shows, and they're probably still going to be the same as...
Yeah, right?
And then we got this... And that was the first thing I said. I'm like, well, thank you for that podcast. Thank you for just putting that in our hands this week.
Keep giving us more.
Yeah. So I really like this song, and you can get it. It's streaming everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
I mean, I have it on Apple Music, but it's on Spotify, and I'm sure all your other platforms.
So listen to these shenanigans. So it was released November 22nd at midnight.
In your local midnight.
In your local midnight. So it was like 11:49 p.m. on the 21st, the night before. 15 minutes. And I'm about to go to bed, and I'm like, I'm just going to look in the store. And there it was in my Apple Music iTunes store in the US. And I clicked on it and it said, not available in your region. Do you want to switch to the UK store? I'm like, okay. So I click yes. And then I click on the song and it says, your Apple ID does not work in the store. And I'm like, fuck that shit. But now it won't let me switch back. It's telling me I have to cancel my membership and then re-sign
Oh
up.
my God.
But if I have a family membership, which I do, it could mess with that. And I Googled the crap out of it. And everyone's like, why do I have to cancel my membership? And why can you switch to one store without canceling your membership, but you can't switch back?
That's
I
really
emailed
weird.
them. I emailed them and I have an email about how to fix it. And I haven't done it yet because I'm frustrated. I can listen to it on my computer because my computer is apparently still in the US, but my phone is now associated with the UK.
I felt like I looked it up too before, and I don't know what, I don't think I changed. I don't know. I couldn't sleep that night. I was up like all night long. It was awful. So I got it right at midnight because I was awake. So I think that your local midnight would be my Midnight Oil cover band.
Your local midnight.
Your local midnight.
So the second show in Sydney, Bono said something about the Midnight Oil. Like, this song is for the Midnight Oil. And it reminded me that my grandma used to call the band the U2s.
So we call them the U2s. And sometimes people look at me when I say it like, that's not their name. Like, I had no idea.
Really? I didn't know that.
No idea at all. None. No.
The U2s. My same grandma used to say, have you talked to Bono recently? How is he?
I get that all the time. I'll go into random places. I ran into a friend of mine from high school, from her parents. I guess it was shortly after Bono had his bike accident.
Yeah.
They're like, we've been meaning to ask you, how is Bono? And I'm like, he's great. He asked how you were doing. Also, for some reason this night, because I was talking to them, and then I looked like a few tables over and there were some other people I knew. So I just walked around tables saying, I hope your dinner was good. If there are any complaints or, just let me know. And can I get you a refill or...
You're on a roll, huh?
I was on a roll that night. I just, for some reason, I saw them and I went over and they asked me about Bono and then like turned around and I'm like, I know like 3 other people here. I trust that your meal was good.
I know. Like, strangely, I know.
Yeah. I did. That was the thing. I did know. But my grandmother asked me that all the time. How's Bono? He's such a good boy.
He's such a good boy. Bubby Bono. He says it's too salty. Oh my gosh.
I'm cooking food for Bubby for Thanksgiving and I'm gonna put salt on everything. No, I'm not. I don't really like
Bubby.
I don't really like salt, so I don't think she's gonna say this is too salty.
Yeah.
Really hilarious. So what are we gonna, like, listeners, if you have any suggestions for mini podcasts, let us know. Like mini, not like, an hour or 2-hour podcast. Yeah. Like just something a little quick fix. If you have any suggestions, please.
So if you're listening to these in order, you know that we've published the Joshua Tree Side A, and you are anxiously awaiting the release of Side B. It is coming very soon. It is done. It'll probably be out in the next week because I kind of want to get these ones out first.
Yeah.
So that is coming, but that is our last official full podcast of 2019.
It's the end of our first season.
Yeah. So we'll do these mini apps, especially about the tour as they happen. But if there's anything else you want in the meantime,
I mean, we're gonna run out of those
way before you can add to the 2020 schedule.
Yeah, anything. Just if you have suggestions you want to hear something about, or if it's not about you too, I'm sure we can make stuff up too.
Yeah, we're really good at that.
We have a collective wonderful imagination.
Yeah. So you can reach us. You can message us on Instagram or Twitter at _gardentarts. Or if you want to email us, it's wearethegardentarts@gmail.com. We
Yeah,
love to
and
hear from
just
you.
really love it, especially, compliments.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, I
the
did love
best.
to say hello to new places. We're kind of like exploding all over the globe, and it's hard to track who's new and who's not. I did get a message from one of our Belfast, Northern Ireland listeners the other day. He was like, I was listening to your podcast, and I think I'm at least one of your Belfast listeners. I'm like, thanks for saying
Oh,
hi.
and we do, as per my request, we do have a listener from, at least one listener from Silver Springs, Maryland.
Yeah, welcome,
Thank
Maryland,
you.
to the
Thank
podcast.
you.
We're still
I've
looking for
been
Sweden.
I've been to visit you in Silver Spring a lot. My favorite mall used to be White Flint. May it rest in peace.
Oh,
Yeah.
we were doing
And my
Pride
mom
Month.
used to go there to get kosher meat and Passover food.
Oh,
Now you can order it all online.
yeah. But yeah, keep telling tell your friends if you enjoy listening to us. Tell your YouTube friends to tune in.
And even your non-YouTube friends, because they might learn something.
I mean, we like to think we're kind of funny. I
I
mean,
mean,
we're funny to each other,
we laugh at each other all the
and
time.
I think people might enjoy laughing at us.
Not at us.
At
Maybe
us,
with us.
maybe.
Never been to a U2 concert before. I've been at one, but I've never been to
Being
one.
two one. Good one. Good one. Okay, well, we can wrap this up. We have a new song. There's
Yes.
new stuff coming. They're apparently working in the studio. It might take 10 years for that to come into fruition.
Right.
Someone
Also,
said, "Do you think we'll have a new song by the end of a new album by the end of 2020?" And people are like,
I don't think
"Come
so.
on."
Well, this is the thing. I was talking to another friend that they're working in the studio, and she was like, "What does that mean for a tour?" And I'm like, "I have no idea, but they've never had an album out before where they didn't tour it." Then all
Right.
this crap comes down about Coldplay that they're not going to tour again until they can figure out some sort of echo plan or whatever. Which good for Coldplay, but also they have a really good new song out. I can't remember the name
Yeah,
of it.
I
It was
just heard it for the
super
first time
good.
yesterday.
So good.
Yeah.
Like incredibly good. But I'm like, I hope they don't talk too much to you too, because no,
No.
I
I
will recycle more. I will use less water. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll not drive more than I have to drive. Whatever it takes so that they can continue to tour. I will sacrifice my.
We'll do our part.
I
I
want.
can't see them ever. I can't see them ever doing that.
Right. Well, I will be happy to lessen my carbon footprint to give more of my footprint to them.
Well,
To
there's so
donate it.
much that they could do to lessen their carbon footprint, like
Yeah.
simply even just having less, like making the stages less complicated and needing less transport.
Well, that's true too, but I guess another thing they could do is play more shows in a single city.
Yes, instead of traveling to a lot of cities.
Yeah. Well, I mean that would mean we'd have to travel, but I'm okay. That's
I'm
fine.
okay with that.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if they played, I don't know, 6 shows in Cleveland, dude, how easy would that be?
That would be amazing.
Or, like, say in nowhere near me, I don't know, DC, but I couldn't even imagine that.
They played like 10,000 shows in New York not too long ago, but only like one of them was on a weekend. Kind of made me mad.
They played 8 shows,
8
and we went
shows.
to 2, and it wasn't a weekend.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
made it
correct?
hard.
Yeah.
8 shows. That was like a residency.
It was a residency.
It's crazy.
Or they could play a residency. Like, just, yeah. I mean, if they were playing 20 shows in New York, I'd go to 8.
Yeah.
I'd make
I
it
can
work.
do that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think I've
Okay.
never been to a residency show before, but I think I love that idea.
Me too. Okay. Well, I think we should wrap this up because we kind of got way off topic from the new song, which is totally fine.
It's fine. It's exciting. It's all happening.
No, it's all happening. It just keeps happening. Remember people were like, "Are they done?" And we were like, "Psst,
No.
please."
No, not done.
No.
No, not done. We've only just begun.
We've only just begun.
Yep.
Well, good night, friends.
Good night, friends. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey there, listeners. If you're a U2 fan, you are more than likely aware of the work that Bono has done and continues to do in Africa. It's amazing work, and the exciting thing is you can get involved too. There are 2 simple ways. 1. Go to one.org and sign up to fight against extreme poverty. 2. Visit red.org to shop. What? Shopping helps? It sure does. By purchasing Red branded products, you are contributing to the Global Fund, which supports HIV/AIDS grants in many African countries. As your man says, where you live should not decide whether you live or whether you die. So head on over to one.org and red.org to join the Garden Tarts in doing our part to end AIDS. Also, we love hearing from people and chatting with people, and of course, we love talking U2. So you can drop us a line on Instagram or Twitter at _gardentarts, or you can even email us at wearethegardentarts@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon. If you enjoy this podcast, we would love it if you would share it with your other U2-loving friends, as well as leave a review for us on whatever platform you use to listen to podcasts. We would really, really love that. May your music be loud and your whiskey be strong. Until next time, cheers.